This is Lizzie
and Christina.
Y'all are listening to Gospel Gossip. This is going to be our first episode of this podcast, and we started this to try to hopefully create a platform where some people kind of around our age, teenagers, young adults, can listen to it and hopefully relate to some things or get some answers to some things maybe. I think in the future we'll be talking about some things from Christian perspectives and just looking at some different things that's going on in the world right now. And I don't know, we'll see how it goes from there. I just wanted to thank y'all for tuning in today. This is our first episode of Gospel Gossip, and I thought that me and Christina would just introduce ourselves to y'all. So my name is Lizzie, and I recently moved to East Tennessee, here where me and Christina both live, and I'm from South Mississippi. We moved from Louisiana about 3 years ago in October. And me and Christina just recently met at a new church that I'm going to. So we have just formed a little relationship, and I guess you could say our friendship has kind of blossomed. And we were talking the other day, and we decided that we would start a podcast because we were having some pretty interesting conversations. But what about you, Christina? Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hello, guys. I'm Christina, and I am from East Tennessee, and I've been going to this church for most of my life, and that's actually where me and Lizzie met.
Yeah, just recently, maybe
a month ago.
Yeah, I had been going here a little bit before then, but we hadn't really talked. I was just kind of sitting on the sidelines, doing my own thing.
Yeah, hey girl, hey.
And then she just took me under her wing, and we've been I don't know, partners in crime since for a month. I don't know. It's been moving quickly, has it not?
Yeah, it has.
I mean, y'all can probably tell since we literally have a podcast now. What? That's crazy.
Surprise.
That's crazy. So I'm so excited. What are we going to talk about? Kind of wanting to talk about what we were sort of talking about the other day at Zaxby's. Oh, quick little story time, by the way. We were at Zaxby's the other day with our parents, and we were just talking, and Christina goes, Lizzie, this would be really good on a podcast. And I was like, haha, whatever. And then I started thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? That would be actually super cool. So the other day at Zaxby's, we were kind of talking about how kids can be in church and how church can be for teenagers and all that kind of things. And I think that'd be a good place to start, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
So we were kind of talking about sometimes you just go to a church and you can't really fit in with the kids there, you know? Has that happened to you?
Yeah.
I don't know how many youth groups you've been to, but I've been to a lot.
I've been to a couple.
I've been to a lot of youth groups, and most of them I've been to, the kids, I don't know.
It's they have their own little group.
Right. And they don't want to venture outside of that, and I don't know if it's just teenagers being teenagers or if it's Christian teenagers, being in their little circle, like you said, at youth, because they all know each other. They don't want to, really venture outside of that. Or if it's just, that, overall, you know? But I feel like it's so hard to connect with people at church as a teenager. It's just... I've really had a hard time doing that over the years. Honestly, even before I was, in youth, it was hard. And I don't know if you've struggled with that, but...
Yeah, so I have friends that would come for a little bit, and they would leave. And then, so I would try to find friend groups, and it was they have their little group, and you were trying to, squeeze your way in, but you couldn't. Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of, you were on the, yeah.
On the outside,
yeah.
Kind of just looking in. Yeah. You're literally, they're just standing inside of a candy shop, and you're just outside, and you have your head pressed against the glass, just looking in creepily from the outside. Yeah, that's actually how it feels sometimes. And, adults try to kind of get you all together,
yeah.
Brady, our youth pastor, Brady and Alyssa, they're amazing, by the way. Love them so much. Shout out to Brady and Alyssa. Hi, if you're listening to this, hopefully you are. They really try to push us together and kind of merge us together, because they want us to be close to be able to like go through things together, I guess, and
Yeah, they
be
don't
able
want
to
you to go through it alone.
right, and be able to lean on somebody that's our own age, if that makes sense. Because sometimes it's hard to form relationships where you can just talk to like adults. I know that like leaders in churches and stuff, they say, "Oh, we're here for you," but and I know that they are, but sometimes you just don't feel comfortable going, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's how I've felt in the past, and honestly now I don't feel like I could just go up to somebody and be like, "Hey, I'm struggling with this," like pastor or whatever. Even though I trust them, I wouldn't feel comfortable enough to do
Yeah.
that, if that makes sense. But once you form a connection, like me and Christina have, for example, like it's just so much easier because I feel like we can just talk about anything.
Yeah, I'd just be like, "Hey, Lizzie, you wanna call? Can I call you?"
Yeah. Like last night we were on FaceTime at like midnight. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was like midnight.
Yes, and we were just talking about the most random stuff. But yeah, I've really been so blessed to be able to be here and to have formed the connections that I've have. Even though it's just been a few. It's really like helped my life and just helped me through things that have been going on before this, you know? And I feel like that's just really important. And now that it's happened to me and I've kind of opened my eyes to it, it just is so much more, I don't know, more obvious that it needs to be there, you know,
Yeah.
like the relationships. I feel like that's what I was missing was like a good like Christian friendship, you know?
Yes.
But another thing that we were talking about was in the Christian teenager like kind of world, there's like I feel like there's two sides of it.
There definitely
There's two
is.
sides of it. Yeah. And this is what we were talking about the other day at Zaxby's.
Love
Dude,
Zaxby's.
Love Zaxby's. I can throw down on some buffalo chicken tenders, dude. Anyways, that's besides the point. So we were talking, there's two sides to it. And I feel like, well, I'll go ahead and say that there's three sides. Like, there's either extreme either way in either direction, or you're just kind of in the middle, chill and normal, if that makes sense. Where I feel like that's where we are, kind of. I feel like that's where we should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we can say that's where we are, but you're either so far I don't know how to put this, but you're so far Christian, like you can't venture outside of anything but church, if that makes sense. This is what we were talking about.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were talking about. Or
you're either the absolute opposite and you're literally just going to church because your parents drag
basically
you.
your parents are like, yeah, you're going.
Right. Like you don't want to be there. And it's kind of obvious that you don't want to be there. And I feel like in a lot of places there are groups of both. And you kind of have to like sift it out. Because I feel like it's easy to get mixed up with the wrong people. Can we say it a little bit louder for the people in the back? It's a little bit easy to get mixed up with the wrong people. A lot of the times. I have found myself so many times in the wrong places with the wrong people
at the wrong time,
doing the wrong thing. Yes. Yeah, but and also it's hard to be around and get along with the people who are so far Christian,
because it feels like you're not on their level. It feels like they're so like Christian and you're like, you want advice, but they're too
right. Like you can't go to them with anything because they'll just tell you that it's wrong, or like I'm just here to talk to you and get your opinion on it as a Christian, you know, and all they're going to be like is, you know, be judgmental sometimes.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be a Christian and love God. I'm just saying that
it's not what we're saying.
The example that we were talking about the other day, we were talking about how sometimes you can be so deeply religious. Maybe religious is the word that I should use. Religious is the word that I need to be using, because there's nothing wrong with being Christian. You just don't need to be religious. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you can be so far religious that you can't see anything past that. And when you're at the point where you're so religious that you just don't have any joy. Like, that's what we were talking about, I think.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were talking about.
Yeah, and it's hard to get along with that type of person. And it's also, you can't get along with the other type of person. So you have to just
you have to find your in-between.
Right.
You need a good mixture of both.
Yeah. And that's so hard to find and so rare. Like, I recently just ran into some people that I've known from a previous youth group, and they were just in that just perfect, like, middle. And it was just really refreshing to, like, see them and be able to talk to them, you know? And that's kind of how me and Christina are. Like, we need to be able to find our people, you know? And we have found people, like... Yeah, there's some people that we're friends with that are just absolutely amazing, right?
Yes.
But, you know, there's always going to be the other sides of things. But I shouldn't have said they're too far Christian because, yeah, they're just religious. Because religious is just a man's attempt to control others, like, in the name of God. That's literally the definition of religious. And I don't feel like we need to be religious and go around telling people that we're religious. Like, I like telling people that I'm a follower of Christ. I don't know.
Yeah, like, I'm not gonna be like, I'm religious.
Right, because going up to somebody and being like, I'm a Christian, that is so overused and overworked. I don't know. In Hollywood.
Yeah, like, people will say it even if they're not.
Right. In Hollywood and everyday life, people that are in Hollywood will get up on stage and they'll say, I'm a Christian until they're blue in the face, but
then they don't actually prove it.
Right. Actions speak louder than words. I'm sorry if I'm preaching. To y'all on our first episode. But actions speak so much louder than words. And I guess we're just trying to be real right now.
Yeah.
So I feel like we might be a little bit too real at times, and we need to kind of back off a little bit.
But it's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. We're just trying to have a casual conversation that hopefully y'all can listen to and relate to, because saying all that, it's really hard to find people that you can relate to now.
Yeah.
It's either so far left or so far right. And
you just need your good, perfect in the middle.
Yeah, you need your middle ground. Yeah. And I love Jesus. I would say Christina loves Jesus.
I do.
Good. That's great. And we're just trying to find other people that love Jesus. And we're trying to make people love Jesus. Encourage people to love Jesus. You don't have to go around being religious, but I just want you to love Jesus just as much as we do, right?
Yeah.
So... yeah, I think that's pretty good for today, huh?
Yeah, I think that's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with our little conversation so far. So maybe thank y'all so much for watching, listening, whatever. And I guess we'll see y'all next time. Bye.
Bye.